If you want to build sustainable wealth while you're still young, build a Greek god physique, and have this energy and confidence to you that just attracts everything you want in every single aspect, then you need to become incredibly consistent in what you choose to spend your time on. I spent the last 3 years obsessed over fitness, training, and business, reverse engineering how successful business owners, founders, and elite athletes operate, and implementing these principles to turn myself into an absolute machine, training every single day for 271 days straight. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 9 non-negotiables I used to eliminate my destructive habits, build discipline, and become so consistent that I literally become addicted to progress. Let's dive right into it. So before we start, this is not going to be any motivational BS YouTube video that you watched in the past. This is going to be extremely high compact and practical things that you can actually implement the moment this video is over. This is for you if you want to build a Greek god physique and the discipline that comes with it. If you want to become dangerously consistent in every single thing that you do. If you're highly ambitious, but you consume self-improvement content and rarely take action, this is going to be very implementable so you can act on every single thing that I talk about the moment this video is over. If you want to build a golden relationship with yourself where you make a promise and then you keep that promise, then this video is for you as well. If you want to commit to excellence in every single area of your life, this is for you as well. This is not for you, however, if you're going to watch this video all the way through and not take action on it at all, because then you're just wasting your time. If you're actually committed to real and lasting change, then this video is for you. But if you're not, this is not for you. If you're not willing to invest in yourself and go all the way, this video is not for you. And if you're unwilling to face hardship and pain and suffering at the very beginning to be able to change your character, then this video is not for you. It's going to be much easier to maintain that character. However, it's going to be very, very difficult at the beginning because you're changing every single aspect about yourself. So here are the 9 non-negotiables, things that you can do starting today to actually become very, very consistent. So principle number 1 is to set non-negotiable standards and not dreams, because you don't rise to the level of your goals and dreams, you fall to the level of your standard and systems. So an example of this was that I basically spent an hour meal prepping 6 meals, and I saved myself 3 to 4 hours this entire week, and it's so much easier for me to just go in the fridge, take out the meal, and put it in the microwave instead of just making a whole meal. And rather than tracking my macros, I structure my meals so I know exactly how many carbs and protein is in each meal that I make, that I prep. And so I'm not wasting time just tracking my macros, which is useless if you don't have these systems in place. Another example of this is a 3-4-5 method. 3 goals, 3 standards that you hit. So for example, one of those standards could be I hold myself to a high standard, to the highest standard every single day. So that could be one example. And 4-step morning routine, 4-step morning routine, and 5 signal tasks, 5 requirements that you have to get done that day. So this process, this standard, I hold myself to every single day. So no matter what, I make my bed, I drink 32 ounces of cold water, I do 50 push-ups, and I journal. That is my morning routine, that is my morning process, and that is the standard that I hold myself to every single morning. And then I do 5 signal tasks. No matter what happens during that day, I have to get those 5 things done, and I do them in order. The most important thing always gets done first. It's what's called eating the frog. So if you had to eat a frog with your dinner, would you eat it at the beginning or at the end? Well, if you were an absolute psychopath, you would eat it at the end of your meal, because then you wouldn't have room to eat the frog. But if you put it at the beginning, you would just get it out of the way and you would be done with it. This is another standard that I hold myself to, getting the hardest thing done first thing in the morning. Principle number 2 is design the character that you need to become. You'll never achieve your dreams as the person you are right now, so stop trying. Define in writing the exact character, the exact person that you want to become. How do you operate every single day? What time do you get up? What do you like? What are your goals? Write the minimum standard and then become a different person and design that person so that your dream is their minimum standard. Think about it like this. If you had to design a character who gets to your goals, what would you have them do? How would they act every single day? What would they do on a day-to-day basis to actually reach those goals? What would you put them through to get to those goals and guarantee success? Principle number 3 is separate your mind from your character and take control. Now this is incredibly powerful, and I'm going to explain exactly what this means. So there are 2 different versions of you. The first version you can think of like a video game character in the game. And the second version you can think of the person controlling the video game character, right? So you want to take back control by putting yourself in the video game character's controller and basically control your own character rather than being on autopilot and just being in the game and just, going around, going through the motions. You want to be in control. You want to have the controller and basically pull the strings on your character. A good way to do this is to basically, it's very difficult to explain, but think of yourself as looking outside of yourself. Envision yourself in the room that you're in. Envision your surroundings from a third-party perspective. So principle number 4 is commit to the full 31 days, because you don't build habits, you don't build baseline standards in just 3, 7, or 14 days. This might be the reason why you haven't been able to stick and consistently do what you say you're going to do, because you haven't built that character, because you haven't just been doing it over and over and over repeatedly for 31 days straight. But once you have that full 31 days of data, that history of you being this new person, that's just who you become now. That is your identity. You don't build self-belief. You don't build this credibility within yourself and this self-trust by basically saying affirmations in the mirror. You do it through action. You do it through daily wins, and you do it through proof, through evidence, because you are this person, right? If you didn't have the evidence to say that you are this person, that's why it's so difficult to build that identity first, because you don't have any proof. You don't have any history of you believing. So you're basically just faking it until you make it. Principle number 5 is morning and night ritual. Now I call this daily programming, or the override. And this is where you basically read your vision, your goals, and your mission aloud to yourself. You basically repeat in your mind or aloud exactly who you want to become and what that person kind of does. Now I have all of my clients do this, and they write down exactly who they want to become, what they look like, how they feel on a day-to-day basis, and how they act on a day-to-day basis, acting out of abundance. So you want to write down these things of exactly who you want to become, and then read that to yourself every morning and night to basically reprogram your mind. Because in the morning and night, you're most susceptible to these new ideas and basically rewiring your subconscious. Principle number 6 is track your performance every single day. So I have my clients do this as well, but they basically have a Google sheet, and they have different systems and different tasks that they need to complete every single day. So basically holding themselves to a standard and taking this idea that we had at the beginning, taking this standard and actually implementing it to create data and show ourselves that we are actually becoming this person that we say we are. And every single check that you make, every single thing that you complete, when you check off this list, basically proving you're creating this evidence for yourself that you are this new type of person. So make ticking the sheet the sole desire you have every single day for 30 days straight, and that is going to become your new standard, your new baseline. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Because if you start to slip up in one part of your life, every other area of your life is going to start slipping up too. And so it's actually so much easier just to be super consistent in every single aspect of your life and just do what you say you're going to do in every single thing that you're going to do. So if you say you're going to go to bed at this time, you go to bed at that time. If you go to bed like 20 minutes later, then it's likely that you're going to skip out on a workout, or you're not going to hit your macros that day, or you're going to skip a meal out of convenience, or all of these things that could possibly slip up, because things always slip into entropy. Things always degrade over time. So you have to be incredibly conscious and intentional with what you do and how you spend your time, and make sure that all of these little aspects are incredibly consistent and you're not slipping up in any single aspect of your routine, or your workouts, or your meal prepping, or whatever it might be. Principle number 8 is to take control and take responsibility for your actions, to never lie to yourself and stop living in denial that you're going to actually reach your goals without putting in the work. You have ambitious goals, right? We all do, but you're not going to achieve those goals if you're just not doing anything about them. So stop living in denial, think exactly how you're going to achieve these goals, and start putting in the action, start putting in the reps, because the successful people that you see online, or people who have the physique that you want, they're not like incredibly smart, or they're not geniuses. They don't have all of the access to this special information that you don't. It's not like genetics. It's not as much genetic as you think it is. It's more about doing the right actions and doing that for a long enough time period that you actually are able to see the results. So stop living in denial, stop thinking that you're going to get these results without actually putting in the work, and start putting in the work and do it so consistently that it just becomes second nature. Principle number 9 is only give your word when it's certain and then keep it. The reason why you aren't able to trust yourself, the reason why you aren't able to do these things that you say you want to do is because you have no reason to trust yourself, because you've broken your promises so many times to yourself. Lying to yourself is the worst kind of lie. Do the things that you say you're going to do and then do them. Otherwise, you're just lying to yourself and you're just cheating yourself out. And the mirror doesn't lie. If you want to become dangerously consistent, it doesn't just happen by just being consistent. It happens by putting in the reps, putting in the amount of work that you say you're going to do, and building this self-trust within yourself. And it takes a long time, but once you actually have that, then it's much easier to maintain because you've built that identity up. Now it is time for you to actually implement. So implement the 3-4-5 method, which is 3 goals. Write 3 goals down, 3 non-negotiables, 3 standards, and then write a 4-step morning routine, and then 5 things that you're going to get done that day, and start executing right now. When you build a golden standard within yourself, when you start treating yourself like gold, everything you touch turns to gold as well. If you got something from this video, please let me know. I do this out of the deepest desire to help people in the realest way possible. And if you need further guidance in applying these principles to your life, then you can click the top link in the description to book a call directly with me and learn more about my mentorship offer and community. And other than that, I hope you have the best day ever, and I'll see you in the next one.